everyone, and welcome to another low elo game of Age of Empires. Today we're back to the state of the Empire, looking at the 100 to 200 elo range as the oldest cavalry civilization in the game takes on the newest, with Aomine playing as the Franks in red, getting ready to take on Who Dropped Ya as the Georgians in blue. Now while the players heard their herdables explore their immediate and closed off surroundings, because we're on Arena today, and try to get their butts up to feudal, maybe even castle age ASAP. Not a bad time for us to take a look at the two civilizations, fast-paced as they hopefully will be, that we are watching today. Now the Franks, the OG cavalry civilization, harkening all the way back to the Age of Kings. Their knights come with extra line of sight, their stables can be upgraded to work faster, and all of their mounted units get more and more HP starting in the feudal age. Now to support their heavy cavalry on the field of battle against pesky, annoying things like halberdiers, the Franks can turn to their unique unit, the Throwing Axemen. This is a ranged infantry unit similar to the Malian Gabeto, whose range can be even further increased. And to help a player train as many Throwing Axemen as possible, Frankish castles do come in at a nice little discount. 15% off in the Castle Age, 25% off in Imperial. Where is the Slumber Camp going? We'll take a look at all this stuff in a second. Now to feed a big militaristic population, Frankish foragers do work 15% faster than normal, and they get all mill upgrades free of charge. Now let's take a look at the Georgians, another cavalry-centric civilization with some powerful supporting features and bonuses. To start with, all of their mounted units automatically regenerate HP starting in the feudal age, and can be upgraded to take up 15% less population space. Both of these features do help them mass their unique unit, the Monaspa. This is a heavily armored cavalry unit whose attack actually increases when there are other Monaspas or Nightline units in the vicinity. Now, in addition, like the Tatars, very important for the Georgians to take, not a lot of high ground in this game, probably no high ground at all, but if there was high ground, I would be highlighting it and pointing it out, because Georgian units and buildings take 40% less damage when they fight downhill compared to the usual 25%. And to help the Georgians build as big and powerful an army as possible, they do start the game with a free donkey cart. Their fortified churches increase the work rate of nearby villagers by 10%, and their economy, their settlement, can be much harder to raid. Okay, and in the individual solitary hunter here. So both players already starting with some fancy maneuvers. As I was about to say, their settlement, their TCs, their basically entire civilization can be harder to raid, since repairing buildings does cost 25% fewer resources. Their defensive structures, which by the way includes their town centers, can be upgraded to get a +2 attack boost, and their towers can be upgraded to deal pass-through damage. So those are the two civilizations. Did Who Dropped Ya not claim these geese yet? Okay, well, I guess exploring the map, finding the relics is more important. I love this style of exploration where you just go line by line, and let's see if he goes up, left, and down. If I'm reading too much into this, is he going to go down? No, he's going to go maybe around here. I love this. Look at this. Just he sees this big chunk, whereas other players might have just explored the edges of the map for now. Let's see how Red's doing it. Okay, Red just looks like he just left after a bit of exploration here in the north as well. But yeah, let's take a look at the map, because we are on Arena today. We have got some fun, odd placements of buildings and the individual hunters. Okay, never mind dual hunters now for our Georgian. Aomine, for some reason, what's the name of Ralph Cifaretto's horse in The Sopranos? For some reason, this is giving me Sopranos vibes. Aomine, Pyomai, right? The horse that Ralphie didn't really like, and then Tony developed a weird emotional connection to that horse, and then obviously led to all this other stuff happening between Tony and Ralphie, who was never on the best of terms with Tony, having never paid him the respect that he deserved at that crap stable episode. In any event, Aomine, Pyomai. I don't know why my brain made that connection. It did, and so you have to hear about it, because you are the captive audience who are watching this video. We are in Arena. A few important things. Where are the internal resources? How close are they to the gates? And how easily can they be lamed? None of these three can be easily lamed. And two of the main resources, safe. One, maybe against a monk, could be a bit of trouble, but to be fair, all internal resources seem pretty safe. Number two, you want to see if a forest forms any part of the wall off for our Georgian. Absolutely not. For our Frank, we already saw some forests already here. Not great, especially not against the Georgians, whose siege line is pretty damn good. I think like the Slavs, they're pretty much only missing bombard cannons. And so this is a very weak point in the Frankish defenses. And let's see whether or not the players... Ooh, okay, all right. This guy's carrying 7 food as he goes to hunt the boar. Boar taken outside the TC. And I'm pretty excited. When I started this series reviewing the state of the ranked ladder, a lot of people told me you should lower your expectations. I mean, 4 villagers on a house when you're housed is okay. But then they said when you were going to watch the 0 to 100 elo game, you're going to pretty much not see anything. There's going to be individual units here and there. But to be fair, that 0 to 100 elo game, also I think it was on Arena, we got to see war elephants. It was pretty darn badass. I'm not going to lie. It was a lot more than I expected based on what people were telling me to expect. 15 villagers is the number that our Georgian decides to go up on a closed map like this. Placement of the farms, not exactly optimal, not exactly ideal here. I mean, these look nice. These 4, this one's a little yuckity yuck. Does Red even have farms? Are Frank with the free farming upgrades? No, he's got 2 and a bunch of faster berry pickers here. Not bad, because the foragers do work 15% faster. They are no longer the slowest food gatherers in the game. Okay, a couple of idle villagers hanging out, having a brewski. Mining camp right next to the gold. Oh, just move it 1 tile north. 1 tile north, and then you have access to all this patch of gold. Now, you might be looking at this and wondering, why did he decide to go with a lumber camp on this tiny little forest? I gotta say, I don't really mind it. And why do I say I don't really mind it? Because it seems to be, aside from this location, which is a little too close for my taste, I'm a little bit risk averse. It's a little bit too close to the wall. And so if you don't pay attention in 30, 40, 50 minutes, you might have yourself a gap in the wall. This is the closest wood line. And by the time you chop all of these, generally you have 2 or 3 lumber camps. You've got another town center up and running. And so I don't really mind dropping 100 wood here for a full priced lumber camp. What about our Georgian? Well, he did the same thing, but it's a little bit more excusable for the Georgians because they have the donkey cart that can just move around. And once this patch of bamboo has been chopped down, the donkey cart can just relocate. I know people are going to be upset. They call it a donkey cart. It's a mule cart. Donkeys, mules, whatever. Who cares about their lineage and their ancestry? Now, both players not really making use of their structures. One thing on Arena that you should note is once you discover where your opponent is, red has seen blue, blue has seen red. Generally, again, maybe those of us who are more risk averse would plop down our structures. And this is, again, not always, but as a general rule, plop down our structures in a position that at least will assist in any kind of wall-off attempt or any kind of attack. So you know, for example, your blue is going to come in from this side going left, red's going to come in from this side going right. Generally, they might come in from the north, they might come in from the south, doesn't really matter. Your structure should be somewhere on a bit of a curve here, maybe, or if you're blue, over here, maybe. This barracks could be placed over here. And then if there is, for example, a tower push or a siege push or some kind of castle being dropped, because these are the Franks, castles are cheaper. He's already got 2 villagers on stone. Aomine's already more than halfway up to a castle age castle. If you were to drop a barracks here, for example, just a couple of walls, and then you're safe against an attack. Whereas the barracks over here doesn't really do very much for you unless your opponent walks all the way to the north and then attacks from over here, which is I don't want to say unlikely because we're watching a 100 to 200 elo game, whereas these are completely unhelpful. Now, again, this is just not a hard and fast 100% all the time. You got to do this kind of thing. Long distance hunters. Ooh, you think you're Mongol? You think you are the Goths? No, you are just the average hunter. This doesn't help. And of course, whenever you're in a rush, you're in a pinch, you need to have housing. For example, when Aomine got housed at 20, you just plop them wherever the heck you can. You don't really think too far ahead. You need that immediacy, that immediate gratification. Okay, now this could be used potentially for a wall off on the south side. But again, why the blacksmith there? Why not here? And then that way you can wall. So that's just a few thoughts, as well as the placement of the farms. A little bit odd, since they can be placed next to the TC. Maybe he didn't want to take the bamboo just yet. Maybe he's got himself a pet panda, and he's saving the bamboo for playtime. Our Georgian housed as well, right until he completes that house. Also, extending the wall off, internal wall off is what I guess what I'm trying to say. Always plan, if you're going to play defensively, an internal wall off. Now, if you're playing aggressively, you're in your head, you're the one who's going to be putting on the aggression. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal of this. But all of the infrastructure here being to the rear is very, how do I say this? Very, very risk averse. Maybe Aomine does it because he expects to get pressed into, expects to lose position. But this is where the pro player would say, you know, this is 750 HP that can stand in the way of my opponent. And so we'll see who decides to aggress against who. For now, let's see who's seen what relics. Oh man, blue has seen all the map and all 5 relics. Red, where is your scout? Just hanging out over here. Also has seen the entire map and all 5 relics. So both players exploring fantastically. It will be our Frank, who off the back of 29 villagers will be heading up to the castle age first. And there we go. He's got a second lumber camp up from before. He's got a couple of villagers on stone. He's got a couple of villagers on gold. Not a terrible, terrible allocation. We'll see what direction he wants to go. And with this much stone this early on, I'm getting kind of a red phosphoru vibes here that we're going to see a castle being placed. The question is, will it be internal? Will it be external? At this elo, are the players that aggressive, or are they more afraid? You know, like everything in life, everyone you meet in life falls into one of 2 categories: pleasure seeker or risk avoider, or pain. Pardon me, pleasure seeker or pain avoider, not risk avoider. Everything's a risk in life. So, are you a pleasure seeker in that you are a fast Imperial Turk who wants to just shove into a base, a Teuton tower pusher, a Cuman ram lover? Or are you a pain avoider who just wants to be as safe and sound as possible? Oh my goodness, these houses would be better served over here. You do lose a bit more villager walking time, but man, they serve very little purpose over here, especially since he didn't delete this gate, so I'm not too sure what he's afraid of. So it looks like red really is a pain avoider. Blue, we have yet to see what our Georgian is. For now, his scouts regenerate 5 HP because he is still in the feudal age. In 2.5 minutes, they will regenerate 10 and then 15. Wheelbarrow for red. No economic upgrades for his villagers. No economic upgrades, period, for blue, who has used this time to pump out 5 scouts. And there's a second TC. Oh my goodness. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to think of a positive thing to say about the location of this town center, and unfortunately I just cannot. I thought maybe if you delete the walls you'll have and take the bamboo, you have some room for farms here, and you can replenish your gold miners pretty fast. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't know about that location. Let's see how it works out. You know, I'm not I've seen so much in my life. I've seen so many shit situations go well and good situations go shit that I don't jump to conclusions as fast as other people may want me to. But for now, that town center is certainly odd. Certainly an odd location. Both players, by the way, not deleting their gates and their stone walls on the flanks and in the rear. Not that blue has that many, but this one might be a nice place for a TC. Mill continues to circle in the wind, and red also not deleting. This could have been a good place for a TC, or maybe next to the stone. All right, we're both in the castle age. All right, well, we've got one town center that's training what looks like 7 or 8 villagers. The other training 1 villager. Okay, so you might want to even that out. Like a seesaw, this end is right on the ground, heavy with 8 villagers. This one's got 1 villager up in the sky yelling, "Let me down, let me down." No kills just yet. Both players not really making a military move just yet. Our Georgian is falling behind ever so slowly, but incrementally and inevitably, inexorably, I think the word is I'm looking for. Hey, you've got 900 wood. Put a mining camp down. He is just falling behind more and more, and I'm wondering why. The TC idle time difference is about 3 minutes, which I want to say is, what, about 11 villagers? So yeah, okay, there you go. It makes kind of sense. The difference is about 9 or 10 villagers. All right, so he uses one town center for handcart, the other continuing to train villagers. Now it's a bit more of an effective allocation of villagers. Blue, for his part, does have the stone, does have... I mean, we saw that he's got the wood galore. And by the way, mining camp, I meant donkey cart, because of course we're watching the Georgians. But for some reason, just idling the TC more and more and more. Another TC right next to the TC in between the TC and the mill. A ballsy choice. Okay. I guess this farmer is gonna have to really decide. This is like a child during a divorce proceeding. Do you want to go to mom or do you want to go to dad? And the child is caught in the middle. Do I go left? Do I go right? Where do I drop off my basket of fruits and vegetables and whatever else I'm farming? But okay, well, both players with questionable TC locations. We'll see whether or not Blue, now that he's got a second TC, will actually be more efficient in his idle time with villagers and TCs, or whether or not this is just going to explode exponentially his idle time. Our Frank does have the stone to build 1.5 castles at this point, continuing to expand that economy. The economic upgrades, by the way, significantly ahead for our Frank, who is getting arson. Okay, so we are going to see, I'm trying to think throwing axemen? Trying to take down buildings? I'm not too sure what the point of arson was, or is rather, but we're starting to catch up in upgrades. Gold mining for our Georgian, no farm upgrades whatsoever. So forget the extra food. Forget the +1 carrying capacity. Arms are on auto. I can't imagine they're not on auto at this point. And there we go. So instead of actually helping him balance his economy, he's training 4 villagers out of 1 TC, no villagers out of the second one. This is just going to make his TC idle time just grow and grow and grow. By the way, Blue, does he really care? He's been patrolling this area forever. And once he moves in to this corner of the forest, should see these 2 new structures, unless that's not the path. But maybe when he's over here, he'll be able to see the... I mean, now they're finally placed in kind of a defensive position. But he's going to see the siege workshop once it goes up. He sees the stable, and now he sees the siege workshop. So he knows what's coming. I mean, I don't really know what's coming. What's going to come out of the siege workshop? Not too sure. Maybe some scorpions. We have seen Frankish scorpions now that they all benefit from ballistics. Not do terribly. They do get heavy scorpions. They do get siege engineers. So why the hell not? And we've got to move out. Ladies and gentlemen, at the 29.5-minute mark of the game, our Georgian discovers a bunch of Frankish villagers moving to build a castle. FYI, do the villagers have loom? Yes, they do. But they're fighting light cav, and the first kill of the game goes to Who Dropped Ya as he drops a Frankish vill to the ground. But loses a scout, but gets another vill. 2 villagers for a scout. We'll let you decide whether or not that was worth it. As Blue now will hound a third. We'll probably get... Oh, he's chasing inside. He didn't get the memo that once you go inside, this is a one-way trip. He does not get her. Now he's trying to exit, but he can't. The castle, 263 HP. Why aren't you attacking? Attack, attack, attack. Now, to be fair, the castle is only 5% completed, which means Aomine, who is housed, surprisingly, given how much housing he's been putting down. Aomine, if he cancels it, does get 95% back. 95% of 85% of 650. I'll let the Kumon math Mensa geniuses do that. I used to be able to do math in my head. Now, years and years of life have just destroyed my brain. Again, TC lying idle, TC training 3 villagers. And I don't think Aomine realizes that he's still housed at the moment. Whereas I don't think Who Dropped You realize how quickly he can kill this castle with only 263 HP. It can be dropped in a second. 1 scout, 2 scout, and... The Last of Us falls, but not a free get. I believe there is a red unupgraded Frankish scout in the mix there. And Blue says, I like this location. I'm going to follow you. Real estate is all about location, location, location. Unlike you, I'm not going to send out 50 villagers. I'm just going to send out 2. Okay, the conga line of construction workers. They heard there's good benefits in constructions. You get paid cash, overtime, time and a half, holiday pay, all that good stuff. So they're all joining in on the fun. And they're going to build these houses like nobody's business. 2 more villagers move forward. Red needs to suss this out immediately, or he's going to have a Georgian castle pumping out Manaspas on his front step. But he doesn't see it. Complete the castle. Either Red complete the castle or Blue attack the castle. Somebody do something with this castle. Oh, he doesn't see it. The line of sight on villagers. These aren't exactly Korean villagers, but remember, Frankish knights, they have extra line of sight. Maybe Blue will lead him straight to it. No, this happens all the time. The player leads straight into a place where they probably shouldn't. Like if you're driving by and you see some military convoy and they're like, hey, why don't you follow us to Area 51? And that's exactly what happened here. This is the last place Blue wanted. 96, 97, 98. 98, 98, 98. Right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. 99.29. I don't see any more blue dots on the map. Well, whether it's at 2400, 1400, 400, or apparently 190 elo, doubt castles are about as prevalent, omnipresent as acne on a teenager. And we've got ourselves a doubt castle, 4500 HP. Now, what's funny is this castle with 270 HP wasn't attacked. This castle with almost 4800 HP is being attacked. Right, our Frank takes his second relic, kills the villager. Oh, he sent one villager. Sneaky, sneaky from the south here. Now, what do? Do you send 10 more villagers and hope that one of them makes it and makes one little hammer fall? 99.29%. That is ridiculous. That is bonkers. That is ridiculous. That is every other word you want to use to express exactly how you feel right now as you watch in frustration as the entire Frankish civilization gathers itself to take down this structure. Behind us, our Frank, by the way, has a massive economic lead. He's getting bearded axe. Okay, so the arson was for throwing axeman. And how prescient of him to know that he was going to be taking on a 99.3% complete castle. He hits Imperial, immediately Cavalier. University. For what? We'll find out. Defensive castle here for our Georgian, whose civilization has fallen further and further behind. He is now 11, almost 12 minutes of idle time behind his opponent. Both town centers, even though he's got 250 food, are doing nothing. He's got 800 wood still, and still will not build a mule cart. Do you build a mule cart? Do you train a mule cart? Do you construct a mule cart? Whatever it is, he's not doing it. How many mule carts does he have? He probably should have 7 or 8 by now. He's still just on the original 2. The one he got for free, and the one that he trained or built or constructed or birthed. Whatever the hell. Oh my goodness. What an inefficient economy set up here by our Georgian, who really dropped the mic. Or pardon me, really dropped the ball. Oh, if he dropped the mic, he would be ahead in villagers. Oh yeah, synchronized attack by the Cavaliers, and the castle's down. To be fair, what the hell were you gonna do? Are you gonna cancel it for what? What's 0.7% of 650? 5 stone? Wow, that was really sour. Okay, well, this Siege Workshop was for Scorpions. Aomine does have the gold he needs for the Paladin upgrade, but not the food. With 24 villagers on food, it's going to take him a while. Now, what he does have is enough stone for 4 more castles if he wanted them. Maybe even close to 5. No, 488. Yeah, around 4.5, 4 castles. Pikeman for our Georgian, as he too is 40 seconds away from the Imperial Age. And wow, look at that. Both TCs are working. Let's check in on Red's economy. Both TCs are working. One good thing about Red, I should say one good thing. The game hasn't been terrible so far. A good thing about Red is that he has just been non-stop pumping out villagers. Now at the 40-minute mark, somebody like, I don't know, pick any of the top 10, 20, 30 players that you like, whoever's your favorite. That player would probably have about 130 villagers right now, especially with no aggression from the other opponent. Oh, so the university is for fortified walls and masonry. He does not want to lose his structures, his castles, his anything anymore. A pro player, top percent player, would probably have an extra 40 to 50 villagers by this point, and probably have 1 or 2 more TCs. These walls would be down. But we're not watching pro players. We're watching elite throwing axemen being researched. Not even one yet on the map. And he's going for even more stone. You'd think that he had a penalty building castles, that he had to pay 15, 25% more for his castles, the way Aomine is gobbling up the stone on the map. And our Georgian is moving out. He knows the castle's up. It was firing on his castle. His pikemen on move command, taking bolt after bolt after bolt. Will they even get a single red unit here? The pikemen do not. The Manaspas might. Are there enough Manaspas? No, there are not enough Manaspas. That is unfortunate, pardon me. If you want the full +4 attack with the Manaspas within 15 tiles, you need 29 of them. Every 7 plus your original. So 8, 15, 22, 29 is the number of Manaspas or Nightline units. Does he have a stable up and running? Yeah, he does have a stable to the back. So he can train some knights if he wants to. There's chivalry. Does he have conscription? Does it show on this chart? Yeah, he doesn't have conscription, our Frank, but he does have chivalry. So is if he wanted to, now he could research Paladin a lot quicker. Remember, it's not just when a structure works faster as a part of a kind of bonus or unique upgrade or whatever. It's not. You have to remember that it's not just training units faster, but also researching technologies that comes in faster. By the way, I think Red forgot that he's got a Cavalier here stuck. And here we go, another castle defending what exactly? Not too sure. Maybe the weak spot in the forest. Maybe Aomine agrees with me that this is a weak spot and wants to pretty much wall it off. he dropped the castle and his stone count didn't even drop. That's how much stone this guy has. Manaspa count is going up to 6. He's going to need 2 more if he wants that +1 attack. He does have iron casting. 35 seconds away from blast furnace is not bad. That reminds me. Let's take a look at the upgrades on the players. We got 5 throwing axemen, +1/+1 on them. He got a little bit of armor for his cavalry units. Still doesn't have the food needed for paladins, so we're probably not going to see paladins. Although he has gone up to 35 villagers on food. What an incredibly inefficient farming community. Mill over here, mill over here. And if you want to spend some of your 200 wood, mill over here. Although actually either here or here would probably do the trick. So he put a town center down. He's training how many villagers? 20 villagers at a time. No wonder he doesn't have the food for Paladin. That's 1,000 food. Well, that's fun. What about Blue? How's he going? Oh, his TCs are fallow. His stone miners, I think these were no longer mining anything. Oh, looks like a monk tried to go after the relic, discovered that there is a castle here. And now we finally got some Manaspa numbers, 12. So it should be with Blast Furnace +4 and now +1 gives you +5. You got to remember 8, 15, 22, 29. It's always confusing because you needed that one original one. No ballistics for these scorpions. And there we go. There's paladins. And the Manaspa should be able to surround and absolutely wreck these cavaliers if they wanted to. Are they elite? They are not elite. But that's okay. They're just cavaliers they're fighting. I love this Coustelier style hit and run that Blue is developing. He should really try to play the Burgundians with the Cousteliers. Charge in, +20 attack, +25 attack, back away. Break the wrist, back away. Break the wrist, back away. As in Napoleon Dynamite, but Red is chasing. Tenacious does not want to give Blue the ability to mass even more and more, and Blue is happy to oblige. For some reason, taking a fight up north instead of in the center of the map where he would have had the defensive addition of a couple of castles. Why didn't he drag Red over here? And then one of two things would happen. Red would have engaged and then lost his entire army to 2 castles and that many Manaspas. Or Red would have backed away, in which case Blue would have saved those Manaspas. But, well, neither here nor there. How many donkey carts are we working with now? Still just the 2. Not a single fortified church. So our Georgian not making use of his civ's strongest economic features. Number 1, the donkey cart, the mobility that it gives you. And number 2, the fortified church that roids up your villagers within, I think it's an 8-tile radius. They work 10% faster. Red is continuing to build up his civilization. The numbers are not looking good for Who Dropped Ya. He's down significantly across all metrics. His army is 11 to 40. His villagers are 44 to 110. And now he is doing what he should have had Red do, which is fight underneath a castle. Does he have husbandry? He does have husbandry. Okay, that's fine. Throwing axeman. There's that building +4, bearded axe 4+1 range. Siege engineers for our Okay, for our Frank. I was just about to look at the military upgrades and say maybe he wants to get Blast Furnace first because he's got 2 melee classes here. The Throwing Axeman is a melee unit. Oh yeah, look at this one scout. What are you doing here? You don't belong here. You're like E.T. in that closet full of dolls. You're not a real doll. Probably Blast Furnace, given how long it takes to research, is a priority. Okay, he's going up to architecture, so his his structures are going to be really, really hard to take down, especially with basic mangonels. But out comes the first trebuchet of the game. To be fair, our Georgian has focused his upgrades on his Manaspas. He's got Blast Furnace plus 2 armor. And let's see what happens here. I mean, red is just massive at this point. The Frankish army is just way too big. I don't know what the hell our Georgian think he's doing here. This is just an absolute steamroll. This is just an absolute steamroll. Is this what happens in the lower Elo games? The 0 to 100 Elo game was the same when the Persian just kept throwing army after army after army into his enemy's base and just losing 7 to 10 units at a time. Oh my god, blue is using the Treb to try to kill units. But it's not a Hunnic Treb, it's not a Britain Treb. The Paladins realize what the hell's going on. They go after it, they almost get it, they back away, then they realize they didn't kill it, so they go back. Even though the Throwing Axeman could have gotten the job done easily. And now our Georgian loses the last of his military units. It is 54 army count to 0. Exponentially, infinitely greater army count for our Frank, who now just got ballistics. I think pretty much every unit here except the Paladin has an attack bonus against buildings, right? The Paladin doesn't have anything. I think the +2 the Scorpions have. Oh no, pardon me, +5. They're heavy Scorpions, my bad. +5 for you, +4 for you, and you can see why that our Siege Workshop melted. Would love to see a heavy siege unit out of our Frank. I would love to see a bombard cannon. I would love to see a, I guess you don't see the miscellaneous, a trebuchet. But he says, you know what, I don't even need that. I'm just going to try to bust my way into here. These are your average 1800 HP walls. And unless I'm mistaken, I do believe the Georgians get fortified walls. So this is just an oversight from our Georgian, who again shoves out a few more units, but he's a little bit too far behind. Okay, he gets a couple of kills here with the castle and the Manaspas. And maybe while red is focusing on destroying buildings, his Manaspas can kill whatever they can kill. But again, it might be too little too late. Of course, no murder holes being researched for our Georgian. And so the Frank is just going to be able to run amok, and now his 192 HP Paladins. Probably the worst unit in the game you want raiding you after an elephant. And that's it. Aomine punctures the base from the moment. I think it all went wrong for who dropped you militarily when he didn't destroy this castle. With that one light cavalry unit, he probably could have destroyed the castle, or at the very least forced a cancel. Who knows at this Elo if he would have forced a cancel, but destroy it would have been pretty awesome. Economically, I don't even know when things went wrong for him. It's so hard to say. He's got, in a 56-minute game, he's got 55 minutes of TC idle time, and that's between only 2 TCs, not like 7 or 8. That's 2 TCs. So to be fair, though, our Frank does have 33 minutes of TC idle time. Although, look at him, he's finally breached the triple digit. So Aomine does have the economy behind this. He can lose an army or two. He's got enough stone to build enough castles for every civilization in the game if they wanted him to. He's a real stonemason, Aomine. On the other hand, our Frank, our Georgian, no stone at all. Decent amount of gold, but no armor upgrade, final armor upgrade in the Manaspas. I don't think were elite, unless I'm mistaken. Nope, they were not elite, so they're stuck with their blast furnace. He never got the upgraded elite version. He never got the clump of units that he needed, even though he built the infrastructure. So our Georgian did build the infrastructure. Unfortunately, just didn't use it. Whether it was a town center, whether it was a barracks, and I believe the Georgians do get halberdiers. Yeah, the Georgians are, to be fair, aside from some weaknesses in their archer line, they're not a bad civilization at all, especially their siege line. Their cavalry line is incredible with the regeneration, with the Asnauri cavalry taking up 15% less space. Their infantry line looks like pretty much pristine. It is not a bad civilization on the whole. And the only thing they're really missing, I think, is paladins for their cavalry, right? Yeah, just the paladins. So you had the infrastructure. You had the barracks. You had the 2 castles. You had the siege workshop. You had the 2 town centers. You had the blacksmith. Pardon me, 3 barracks. I forgot about the OG random one here in the back. What you didn't have was them working. And so without them working, the idle time on all of his military industrial complex, his civilian population, just way too much. And you can't be this passive. And you can't just have 2 mule carts servicing 42 villagers. I mean, I don't even know what this guy is doing. He looks like he's a lumberjack jacking. Yeah, he's taking down this bamboo in the middle of nowhere. So who dropped it just needs to tweak, I think, his economic game a little bit. Militarily, it's not terrible. It's bad, but it's not terrible. He did have the infrastructure. You know, if he had built 1 barracks and was training a single pikeman out of it, if he had gotten 1 castle and placed it here or here, I would say it's pretty terrible. But his castles were in the forward position. He did get up his castle first aggressively. He just, again, failed to use those structures to actually train an army. And we see this a lot with lower elo players where they build the buildings, they just don't use them. They gather the resources, but they don't spend them. Cough, cough, looking at you, Aomine. There is no reason why our Frank, who is going paladin, throwing axeman, and then a few heavy scorpions to support, there's absolutely no reason why he needs 59 villagers on wood and why he has 6,500 wood. Right now, the only thing he needs to do is take 49 of these villagers and reallocate them. 10, 10, and then the 30 into farmland over here. And then with the farming and the gold, you are pretty much, and this amount of wood ensures that your farms are never going to go fallow. You are pretty much riding high. Or bring your villagers forward and start thieving your opponent's gold. Or thieving your opponent's stone, because he hasn't mined a single ounce, a single anything. Although it looks like he did mine a little bit here. Yeah, 210 and 330. Okay, so he did mine a little bit of stone off campus. And wow, well, there you go. It wasn't a terrible game. Red kind of just steamrolled over blue. Blue missed an opportunity, I think, here with the castle. But red finally got that castle up, brought his villagers. To be fair, the castle's a lot closer to red than it was to blue. And blue, how painful. You feel it in your nads when that castle goes up to 99.3%. And he tried to bring that one sneaky villager who got caught out and killed here. Oh, if only he had sent 10 villagers. Unfortunately, 10 villagers would pretty much have crippled his economy even more than it's crippled right now with only 42 villagers an hour into the game. And yeah, despite economic mismanagement, again, he did have the buildings. So I would urge who dropped you to keep playing this style, but always focus on your town centers. Town centers need to be like a force of gravity, you know, or a magnet. As much as you look away to fight a battle, as much as you look away to build your structures, as much as you scout on the map, your eyes should always be going whoop, zoop, right back to this structure in the early to mid part of the game. This is your most important structure. If you don't pump out villagers, this is what happens. You don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the resources, or at the worst case scenario, like happens here, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you spend your resources on infrastructure? Or do you train units out of the little infrastructure that you have? Either way, you're screwed. Either way, the Frank is here. Either way, the Paladins are not fully upgraded, but powerful though they are. Throwing axemen with one hand. Look at that badass. This guy's like twirling it over his head like a berserker almost. And our Frank, who just non-stop pumping. I shouldn't say non-stop. 33-minute idle time is not good at all, but is a lot better than 55 with 2 TCs. But a lot more villager production. Could use a mill over here, and like I said, a mill either here or here. Might want to tweak a little bit the location of the resources just to make it a little bit more efficient. Like this villager shouldn't have to walk all the way here and then back if there's space right here next to the mill where she can just immediately drop off the food. And so there's just a few little tweaks here and there in terms of military structures. Not bad at all, but with 6,500 wood, I expect 14 or 15 stables, not 3. In any event, though, his opponent just falling too far behind. Aomine lames the castle at 99.3%, then takes it down. And then the Frankish tide was just unstoppable, inevitable. Like Thanos, He snapped his fingers, broke into the base, penetrates it, destroys a castle, taking down infrastructure. Units are streaming out one by one to their deaths. And with that, Aomine, our Frank, is victorious. Let's take a look at the stats real quick, and then we'll say a quick GG to all the players, because to be fair, it wasn't a terrible game. Paladins to Manaspas, throwing axemen. So, I mean, this one-on-one, if it wasn't a Frankish Paladin, I would say is pretty damn close. I mean, if this was an elite Manaspa that attacked on a 22 against the non-Frank Paladin, it would be a very close fight. But a basic Manaspa versus a Frankish Paladin, even though the Manaspa is better upgraded with Blast Furnace, throwing axemen, adding in as much damage as possible, but Manaspas do have a good amount of armor. PKPM not terrible, approaching triple digits here right at the end for red as he penetrates the base, right at the beginning for blue as he constructs his houses. Economically, yeah, I mean, come on, this is more than 100% bigger economy. Ahead in every single metric. I don't even need to look at this. Relic gold also, to be fair, our Frank with full map control almost the entire game could have gotten all 5 relics. Instead, he got 3. Doesn't look like blue was interested in getting relics at all. No conversions. I didn't see a single monk in any kind of battle position at all. And then 3 raisings. There's your destroyed castle and siege workshop and I guess other castle. And wow, okay, well, a fun game. And to be fair, one that raises my hopes and expectations for the 200 to 300 elo, because again, 0 to 100 wasn't atrocious, and 100 to 200 wasn't terrible. And as positive as I am, I'm trying to be pretty excited. But in this particular matchup on this map, in this elo range, it is Aomine who takes the W, but GG to both players.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.